Hello, Kevin, and hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel called Inner Power Training. Today, we also have our special guest, Kevin Fitzgerald, back with us. Kevin has been on many adventures. He traveled for about 7 years with David Wilcock, who was an expert in ancient alien history, sacred sites all over the world. And Kevin was fortunate enough to travel 7 years because he owned his own travel company. And today he's going to take us to the Chateau Isabella in the Rocky Mountains, the Canadian Rockies. He said he visited there with David Wilcock, and I can't wait to hear the stories because I guess this place is visited by UFOs, which I'm a big fan of because I saw 3 of them up close back in 1966 off the coast of Massachusetts, 3 perfect saucers. And it really changed my life. It motivated me to join the airlines and interview pilots and find out more about it. And I think Kevin, because he's been involved with David Wilcock, probably got some interesting information relating to that. But we're also sponsored by LifeWave, which is a technology. It's a patch that you can put on your body with technology made from crystals. And Kevin is telling me he's going to tell us more about the crystals and the Chateau Isabella in his little talk today. So I'm really excited to hear about this. So welcome, Kevin.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm very good.
Yeah, you ready to get this party started?
Absolutely. I can't wait to hear your story about this. I'd never heard of the Chateau Isabella, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. So let me give you a little background on the chateau. You know, the chateau is it's a family-owned chateau in the Canadian Rockies, and it's owned by a couple that it only holds 33 people, so it's very small, and they don't really advertise, you know, online or anything. They only bring in certain groups for it. So it's a very intimate experience. But I want to tell you about one of the owners. Her name's Marion, right? Very, very interesting story. She's half Blackfoot Indian.
Oh.
So when she was a child, her dad went to World War I. Kind of a sad story, but it has a lot of relevance to what we're talking about. So her dad came back from World War I, and he had post-traumatic stress disorder. So one time he had an outbreak where he beat her literally to death, his daughter.
Oh my goodness.
Marion. So what happened? She died, and she crossed over and she met her Indian guide. And her Indian guide said, "It's not your time to go yet." And she was disfigured from the beating she took from her father. And she didn't go to a hospital because back then, if someone went to the hospital and they realized it was the father that did that, he would have been arrested and taken out of the family. But families can't survive without their, you know, the male doing the farming. It was a farm and running the farm and all that sort of thing. So, you know, she wasn't taken to a hospital. So her spirit guide said, "We can rearrange your face when you hang upside down from a tree, and the energy of the tree will start to, and gravity will realign your face," right? So she came back into her body. She did that, and that's how she healed herself naturally. So,
Wow.
but the point of the story is this: as a child, when she made that spirit connection, she never lost it. So she had the ability to move in and out of her body and communicate with spirit guides. And so, you know, move forward, flash forward, the present day, she's with her husband. They created this chateau, and it's a very spiritually oriented chateau. They have like they have an orgone box in the chateau. Do you know what an orgone box is? The orgone energy. Have you ever heard of orgone energy?
I have, and isn't that used for healing sometimes?
Yes. It's like a sauna. It's like you go in there for a sauna, but it has certain coils and things that enable orgone energy to amplify and heal. So they have one of those at the chateau. Very cool. So, but the chateau is located at the base of a mountain. It's called it has an Indian name. It's like Chief something Mountain, and that's where the UFOs come in and out.
Ah.
right? Is that mountain. It looks like a chief laying on his back, looking up into the sky, is what the mountain looks like. So, you know, she has that Indian blood, and she's very connected to the earth and that sort of thing. So we went there with David. I said, David, let's go to the chateau that is extremely spiritual, and we'll just take our group there, and it'll just be our group at the chateau, right? So we went, and Marion, the woman who owns the chateau, had been abducted like 5 times by aliens. So she's had a lot of abductions, and the aliens have come in and strobed the chateau numerous times. And she would talk about her abductions, and they were positive experiences. They weren't negative abductions. I shouldn't call them abductions. I should call it more journeys with ETs, because she willfully went.
Was it her etheric body or her physical body? Did she?
No, her physical body.
Her physical body went to a ship?
Yeah.
Wow.
According to her testimony. Yeah. Yeah. Numerous times. It's just a hotbed of UFO activity where the chateau is in the chief mountain.
Yeah.
And so you know, we would talk about that, and David would, you know, there's about 33 of us, and so what we would do is David would lecture during the day for about 2 to 4 hours, and then usually about 2 hours during the day, and then about another 2 hours, like between 5 and 7. But during the day, we'd go out and we'd explore. And so she also has what she calls cloud busters, these huge coils that she made that attract lightning and energy from the atmosphere. And so we did ceremony where these cloud busters are. And when I say they're big, I'm talking like massive, almost like Tesla coils. And one of the other things we did is we went to an area where we went on a crystal treasure hunt where they had crystals. And she explained how this particular area is where it was an ET clash hundreds of thousands of years ago. And in that clash, these crystals formed. So literally, she took us to this place where not many people know about. And we would just walk around, and everyone found probably about 10 crystals, right? And so we would bless the crystals and ask the land if we could take the crystals, and we'd leave a blessing. And so it was okay, because everyone was going to use the crystals to amplify their own energy and for their own divine purposes. Right. You know, that's why I love these patches so much, because these patches amplify the light quotient within our body and heal the body, right? By stimulating stem cells. So, you know, they're little patches with nano crystals, and crystals amplify energy. So huge believer in the LifeWave patches, huge. So anyway, so we walked around and we found these crystals, and I don't know if you've ever been on a crystal like adventure or hunt, so to speak, but it's like finding treasure. You know, you're looking around, you're looking on the rocks, you're seeing this stuff, and it's like, there they are. And it's quite an amazing thing.
Well, I've used crystals that were shaped like sticks, held them in my hands when I was meditating, and it amplified my meditation. So now that I'm wearing these crystal LifeWave patches, I'm noticing there's more light. I feel lighter. Things are brighter. I'm feeling lifted.
Well, you got to understand too, I mean, look at all the solar activity going on right now. There's
Exactly.
a tremendous amount of solar activity. So the sun is delivering all kinds of energy to us, but you have to be receptive to take in that energy, right? We're also moving through the photon belt, which is a very energetic area of the galaxy. So we're being bombarded with huge amounts of energy right now. So when you have awareness and you realize that energy is good, and I truly believe these patches help to amplify that energy and retain the light that the body normally emits, the infrared light, then that's helping a lot of us who are on this journey alchemize our physical bodies. I don't believe anything happens by accident. I believe these technology came to my life and your life on purpose.
Absolutely.
The
And just
inventor,
at the right time.
just
You're
at the
right.
right time, the inventor of the technology said, God, the creator, gave him the inspiration and the technology in a dream state.
And he got government contracts to develop it for the Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. And he did it. He worked on it till he perfected it, I guess, and they've used it to strengthen themselves and get less fatigue when they're on these long operations. And
Well, a friend of mine, Michael Jaco, is very tuned into the spiritually aware community, and he has he has the Intuitive Warrior
right.
podcast, and he's written those books, and he's a big believer in the LifeWave crystals. Big
I
believer.
saw him recently talking about them. He was in Sedona.
Yeah.
And well, I'm finding everyone I talk to wants to try it or get on it because everybody seems to have a pain somewhere these days, or something going on that they'd like to correct.
Well, I mean, if you're over 50 years old, we all have owies. Most of us have arthritis of some sort. We have joint pain, and these patches work within literally minutes. My pain went from an 8 to a 2 in my back, and I have scoliosis in my back. I have arthritis down my entire spine, and I have degenerative disc. But because of these patches, I'm back in the gym, and I'm having weightlifting sessions like I did when I was in my 20s.
Well, my friend who had like aches and pains all over, she thinks she has fibromyalgia. So she put the pain patch on under her chest rib cage. Within 20 minutes, she said it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
All gone.
Yeah.
She felt
It's
great.
amazing.
So
Yeah.
she's a believer. She's on the patches. But did this woman say anything specifically about what she heard from the aliens when she was on the crafts? When she was
another, I mean, she wrote a book about it, actually. It's called The Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire. I don't know if it's on Amazon, but it's called The Ring of Fire. And she also healed her husband of cancer. So she created this like formulation of herbs and natural things from the earth. And I mean, the healing ability of this substance is incredible. But she talks about that in the book she wrote, because again, it's all about frequency. It's all about intent. It's all about frequency. It's all about understanding that Mother Earth will give us everything we need to balance our bodies. And when your body is balanced, when you raise your vibration, then illness, sickness just can't exist in a higher vibration, right?
right.
So yeah, I mean, she would talk about the aliens, and she also communicated with, this is really interesting, she also communicated with the dead scientists that were brought over after World War II that created the atomic bomb.
Oh, wow. The German.
And a lot of these scientists had tremendous guilt for helping to create the Manhattan Project and the atomic bomb. So they were working with her with advanced mathematics. She was channeling super advanced mathematics because she was connecting to these scientists to do different types of projects here on the Earth plane. So yeah, well, really fascinating.
People I know tell me they know that Nikola Tesla actually sends messages through individuals.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And a lot of people thought he was extraterrestrial even. He was so amazing the way he could connect with higher intelligence.
Well, I believe we all have extraterrestrial influences, so to speak. I believe a lot of us have incarnations in different different solar systems like Orion, Arcturus, Pleiadian, and we're incarnated now as humans to help the evolution of human consciousness. But ultimately, we're just all divine children of a loving creator.
Exactly. Well, that's why I like being involved with what I call 5D businesses. And, like I was with the airlines for 35 years as a flight attendant, but I'm glad I'm not there now.
Yeah, it's crazy
When I
right now for
started in the 60s, it was the golden age of aviation. It was fun. It was safe because
Yeah.
everybody was very, I don't know. It's a different thing now. I just wouldn't want to be there. But I do enjoy getting involved with things that are very helpful and uplifting, like LifeWave and doing YouTubes with people like you, because I think people are hungry for information about how to get unstuck, or where do I go from here, or is there anything out there that can really help me?
Well, I think people are hungry for information, and I think people are hungry for acceptance, because there's a lot of people that intuitively know that extraterrestrial life is positive, extraterrestrial life is real, but they're afraid to talk about it in fear of judgment and that sort of thing. So I think what we're seeing now is you see this on mass media where they're talking about motherships, right, on CNN, and they're talking about UFOs, and we just got to make sure that they don't create a fear-based narrative with that, because our galactic brothers and sisters, most of them are fifth dimensional. So they're of Christ consciousness, which means they're love-based, and they understand the oneness of all creation, right? So they're not here to hurt us, they're here to help us. And I believe when we finally have that mass interaction, which I think will happen within 5 years, the technology they will bring and the wisdom they will bring us into the golden age. I truly believe that.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, there's one story that they brought us technology already that's been used for travel, the space program. I mean, Eisenhower supposedly was involved with extraterrestrials. It's interesting that most of Reagan talked about, outer space. Jimmy Carter said he had an incident with a UFO. I know Ronald Reagan and Nancy, the story is that a UFO landed in front of their car when they were going to a party one night in California.
Yeah.
He got out of the car and they told him he was going to be the president.
Really? I did not hear that.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
Actually told, and they were very shook up. They went on to the party and they were kind of like didn't know what to make of it. But
yeah, boy, I would love for something like that to happen. I would be totally into it.
You would think?
Oh, I'm ready for interaction. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, well, I do think it's possible. I mean, I've had some pretty supernatural, mystical experiences, and I think you have too. You had your own spiritual awakening.
Correct.
Yeah, and I did too. And once that happens, you realize there is a different level of consciousness. Correct. You can call it the Christ consciousness, which has all the solutions.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I believe the temporal problems that we're facing now will be solved with eternal solutions.
Absolutely.
It's another way of saying bring light into the darkness, and the darkness cannot exist, right? So exactly. We're seeing a lot of darkness now, but it's time to bring light into it.
Well, my premise too is, and I've proven it over and over again, good will overcome what we feel is an evil thing. And I used to practice it, when I was flying around the world. If I was in a dicey situation, I would just stay at peace, centered, go to that place where there are no problems. And sure enough, everything would always work out.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And it's actually a law of physics, right? What's the only thing that can transmute karma? Grace, the energy of grace.
Right.
So if karma is coming back to you to teach you. It's not to punish you, it's to teach you. So it's a lower vibration of, for every action, there's an equal and opposing reaction, and what you reap, what you sow, however you want to call karma. So that energy is coming back to teach you. But if you use your free will to align vertically or with the eternal through your heart, then you become a conduit for grace. And so when the higher energy of grace meets that lower energy of karma, what does it do? It neutralizes the karma. Right. Higher energy will always neutralize lower energy. That's why love heals all things, because it's the highest vibrating frequency of energy.
Well, and that's why people that, work on their spiritual selves and do the inner work get to the point where they're an observer and they live in the moment, but you can watch the world and,
Right.
it's kind of like watching a fascinating movie without letting it move you and
Exactly.
depress you, because
Exactly.
it's all in your perception, right? Nothing is
Exactly.
good or bad. It's your thinking and how you relate to it.
It's kind of like sitting in the eye of the storm, watching the storm and not being affected by the storm.
Exactly. And I had a profound experience of that. I was number one stewardess flight attendant in Boston with United Airlines during 9/11. That meant I got my first bid every month. I almost got on that flight 175 because I bid it, but then I went to the computer and changed it before bids closed. But when I went back to work the following Sunday, it happened on a Tuesday. I was flying back to LA on Sunday that week. I had felt like I had to have eyes in the back of my head, but I literally felt like the inner core of my body was the eye in the center of the storm. It was totally at peace. And yet everything was on high alert.
Yeah,
Because we didn't know at that point who they were, what was going on, if there was going to be more. But when you're in a fearful situation, I found out you can find that inner peace and it'll carry you through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
For
that
sure.
was, how long did you guys stay at that chateau? Did you spend a few days?
It was 7 day. It was a 7-day trip.
Wow.
So we would go out every day. So one day we did the treasure hunt. Another day we went to Glacier National Park. Another day we went to Chateau Lake Louise, which beautiful place, by the way. Another day we went to another national park. The name of it skips my mind right now. And then we did a sweat lodge, which was great. I'd never had done a sweat lodge before. So we had some of the tribal elders from the Blackfoot Reservation come in and set up the sweat lodge. We did a sweat. So it was a really great experience. We actually did it more than once. We did that trip twice with David.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
because everyone had such a good time. We did it a second time too.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. And I bet he tells a lot of interesting stories when you're staying on these trips with him about, he knows everything about the history of the world.
David is a fascinating guy. And as far as knowledge of ancient civilizations, knowledge of quantum physics, knowledge of psychology, and knowledge of ancient aliens, I think David is one of the, if not the top guys, as far as having a very good understanding of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fascinating. And, like I said, Kevin and I both share enjoying the benefits of the LifeWave patch, which he introduced me to less than a month ago, but I've been feeling benefits from it ever since I started using it. You just put it on for 12 hours. I put mine on in the morning after I take a shower, and I take it off before I fall asleep at night.
Yeah, it's perfect. And if anyone in your audience wants more information, then just leave a comment. And myself or you, Rebecca, I'd love to work with people. For me, it's a mission. I want to get people healthy, and I want to increase people's light quotient.
It's important, and it's a great way to do it. It's just one of the great pieces to the big puzzle where everyone's trying to figure out how to solve it. It will move in the right direction. Well, thank you, Kevin. And we'll be meeting again to do another interesting talk from you about your adventures. I know
there's a lot of them.
Oh, yeah, you've done a lot of interesting things. So we're going to keep the series going. Thank you, everyone, and talk to you all soon.
All right. Love and light to everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.